For this session, we will talk about reporting in SAP using SQL. So SAP uses SQL in creation of various reports, but normally SAP has already a built-in reporting function within it. However, if you want to create uh, ad hoc reports, then you can make use of SQL. So what is SQL? SQL is known as your structured query language. SQL is used to communicate with a database. According to American national standards, it is the standard language for relational database management systems. SQL statements are used to perform tasks such as update data on a database or retrieve data from a database. But normally, since we want to create queries, therefore, our main focus is the retrieval of data from a database. Now, in your retrieval of data from a database, our SQL commands in SAP are SQL select, SQL where, SQL relational operators. So let's start first for SQL select. SQL select is used to select data from a database. So we'll just select data or some field items in a table. And you already know that when we talk about field items in a table, these are your different columns. Okay. So in your SQL select, we will just select some data items based on our field items. Next, you have your SQL where. In your SQL where, it is used with SQL select to filter or heavy conditions for more accurate query results. So we start first here with your SQL select, and then we will just trim it down through an SQL where. So in your SQL where, we will place some uh, input or conditions so that we can further filter our SQL select. And lastly, we have SQL relational operators. It is used with SQL where to further enhance queries. So here we already have select, we have where, and then we have relational operators. So you can either use this one only, or combination of select and where, or combination of select, where, and relational operators. Again, for SAP, SQL is used for your read-only reports or your ad hoc reports. So let's look into your different relational operators. Take note, we only have three: select, were, and relational operators. Now, for relational operators, what are certain relational operators within SAP and how we will make an entry as to them? So relational operators are used to compare the values of two expressions. Relational operators are binary operators because they require two operands to operate. So you need to compare two items here. And to compare them, we have the following items. We use the less than sign, less than or equal to sign, greater than or equal to sign, equal sign, and not equal to sign. So those are the relational operators here. What we do is we compare two arguments or two expressions. So expression one, here is your relational operator, and then expression two. What are the relational operators we have under SAP? I have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, equals, and not equal to. So let's look now into your query generator. Before we have already access query generator, right? However, we use the access on query generator just to see the different tables listed under SAP. Now, we will use query generator to make SQL queries. Okay, we will use query generator to create SQL queries. Now, in creation of your SQL queries, generally, there are two options in your writing of query. Okay, the two options are: first, That is your query wizard. Ito siya, yan, query wizard. And then another option is your query generator. So sir, what's the difference between the two? Under query wizard, it is a step-by-step creation of query. While in your query generator, there is already an SQL query being built while creating a query because we have already here your select, where, sort by, group by, etc. Therefore, we can already use SQL select, SQL where, and SQL relational operator here directly through query generator. Therefore, to make use of those three functions, we rather make use of query generator. So how do we access your query generator? To access your query generator, under your menu bar, you click Tools, you click Queries, and you click Query Generator. So this is the tab of a query generator. So this is the pop-up menu of a query generator. So we place our focus on the elements of your SQL query. So what are the elements of your SQL query? So the elements of your SQL query are the following. We have select, from, where, sort by, and group by. It is not necessary to place everything or enter all items here. Sometimes we can only make use of select because we're using SQL select. If you want to use SQL where, then you use together with where. If you want to use SQL relational operator, then you can enter up to your sort by and group by. First element of SQL query is your SQL select. In your SQL select, this is the field you want to grab. Okay, so how do we do that? So to grab a particular field, you need to open a table. Do you still remember how to open a table? So to open a table, so here in your query generator, you click tab or you press tab, and all the list of tables, all tables under your RDBMS will open. So based on that all tables, you click the table you want to uh, make use. So let's say we want to make use master table, so you use an O table. Or you just want to use other tables, just look for what table you want to use. So what you need to do is to open a table and you select the table you want to use. Okay. Once you select the table you want to use, you can now select the field which you want to grab. So how do we get the field we want to grab? Upon opening a table, all the different fields or columns will pop up. Okay, so all the fields or columns of that particular table that you opened will pop up. And then you just need to double click which columns do you want to open. Okay, that's the use of your select. Now, in your second element, we have your from. This from is the table where the data will come from. Okay, so this is already the tables that I have taught a while back. So you just need to click or press tab and all tables will open up. Then we have your where. Your where is a filter on the output of the query. Filter on the output of the query. These are now your different conditions. Sort by is used to sort the data into ascending or descending. And then lastly, group by. This is where you can group items, which you can use the data coming out. So let's say, based on these items, there is already a data coming out. Now you can group it by summing up all of the quantities on that data, getting the average out of that data, etc. So that's the use of your group by. Okay. Once you already entered some items here in your query generator, you can click execute and a result which is already your ad hoc report or your report through SQL under SAP will open. So once you click execute, you will see now the result of your query. Okay. This is to show the result of the query or to run the query. Okay, that's how we use your query generator to make use of reporting under SAP. Now, to sum it up again, there are two options in using your SQL or your query. First, under SAP, you have your query wizard. Next, we have your query generator. So in this session, particularly, we will only make use of query generator because there is already a built-in SQL query. While in your query wizard, you will need a step-by-step creation of query. Since we don't have knowledge or we don't have knowledge much on creation of too many queries, we would rather go with your query generator. So under your query generator, we have the following elements: select, from, where, sort by, and group by. These items will work for the three main SQL queries under SAP. That is your SQL select, SQL where, and SQL relational operators. Okay, that's it for your reports using SQL.